What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another Tottenham update, and where better to start off with than Harry Kane. I've been saying to you all along that I'm sick and tired to death about talking about Harry Kane and Manchester City, but this update is a bit better for you guys, and Ali Gold came up with it today. I mean, Matt Hayes was actually talking about it last night before Ali Gold started talking about it, and even before that, Paul Miller gave us a bit of an update on LinkedIn. But what Ali Gold has said today is that news coming out from the club is that Harry Kane leaving this summer is still a big fat no. But that's not the best bit. The best bit is there are noises coming out of Harry Kane's camp hinting that he wouldn't be against signing a new deal. What do we make?
You what?
Like, what do we make out of this now?
A new contract. Well, to be fair, when you immediately hear that he's thinking about signing a contract, it doesn't make any sense. You're thinking, what? He's missed training, blah, blah, blah. He's desperate to leave. How can he sign a new contract? But when you do think about it for a minute, you know, it is very late in the window. So to get this big move now is highly unlikely. City stumping up, I think it is. City stumping up that cash that we want right now with no release clause or whatever.
But we always said it was going to rumble until the end.
I'm just saying, it's unlikely. If he does sign a new contract with with more money to represent exactly how we feel about him, and they put in a release clause for next summer, so if a team does exercise that release clause next summer, then we have no choice but to let him go. I think in that sense, it does kind of make sense that it's a possibility that he could sign. The only way it happens though is if it's completely off the table that City sign him this summer. That's what it would mean. If City completely give up their chase, or if City or Spurs are definitely hard-lined and saying, "Look, you're not going this summer," and that's that. Then it kind of makes sense that he would sign a contract with a release clause. And it would be the benefit to everyone. It would settle him back reintegrate into the squad. It would create a bit of a feel-good factor going into the season. It would make the fans back on side with Kane. And also give him the option of having a smooth transition to moving next summer with a release clause. So kind of a win-win for everyone, in a way, if it does happen. But it's just a bit of a like, what? How did that happen there?
And not only that, but also we get to keep him for another year and still hold that value for next year as well.
Yeah, because it's not
his contract won't be running down 2 more years.
I guess if it's a year, it depends if the contract will extend by a year extension or whatever.
Yeah, I imagine he won't be signing a new contract without it extending.
You'd think so.
Yeah, especially if it's got a release clause in it. I mean, I think it's music to all our ears, this, and I'm just kind of really shocked. I'm just so shocked
and it's
of
funny
this coming about.
It is very funny, because I want to read what Paul Miller posted a couple of days ago, because we read this and we're like, well, he's chatting rubbish because Kane's not going to get a new contract. But now there's rumours are coming out of the club. You're like, was he telling the truth? Because this is what Paul Miller actually posted on LinkedIn. He said, to all Spurs fans regarding... So Paul Miller, if you don't know who Paul Miller is, a former Tottenham player, won the UEFA Cup with us back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So he might get snippets, from in and out of the club, whatever. He says, to all Spurs fans regarding our talisman and England captain, there's been so much rubbish written and spoken in the last week. I want to just try and clarify things from my own perspective. The fact is, Harry played a full year without a break for club and country. He then goes away with his family to stay at Joe Lewis's resort in the Bahamas with the club's full knowledge. He wasn't due back until last Friday to start training again on Saturday. He'll be available for this weekend's game when hopefully the club would have given him an improved contract by then, which he fully deserves. That's the facts. Make of that what you will. I mean, when I read that, I was like, well, he's saying Kane's going to get a new contract, so clearly he's chatting crap.
Yeah.
but also, I was like, no way is that true. But then now the rumours coming out.
I remember when I brought it to you, I was like, did you know that Harry Kane's on Joe Lewis's resort in the Bahamas? And you were like, oh yeah, how did you know that? I was like, yeah, Paul Miller wrote it on LinkedIn. And then you were like, let me see that. And then you see that bit of the contract, and nah, he's talking rubbish.
Yeah, but now it's like, maybe there's some truth to it.
And is it any coincidence that these talks about a new contract are coming, the day after Nuno and Kane are supposed to have had these talks?
And not only that, and it's also a few days after he made that statement
Yeah.
kind of half backtracking, whatever it was,
Yeah.
or perceived to be backtracking. I don't know. It's all very strange if he ends up signing. If it will be a massive twist in the whole saga if Kane ends up signing a new contract. It doesn't mean necessarily that he's staying or for the long term, but it definitely helps with the situation. It could even mean it's smoother for him to leave next year in a way.
But that means City still have to go and stump up whatever, because I
Whatever
imagine
the release clause is.
I imagine the release clause will be in excess of 100 million.
I have to imagine that he won't sign a contract without a release clause. I have to imagine that.
I mean, it doesn't make sense for him to do that without a release clause, seeing as everything that's been
Unless he
going
really
on.
is going to stay for life.
Yeah.
Then
exactly.
then he has to be the release clause.
But the release clause, what do you imagine the release clause is?
Next summer, I reckon it would be between 100 and 120.
Yeah. So if City, and that's what they're saying City are willing to pay right now, will they be willing to pay for that next summer?
I reckon if Kane stays injury-free this year, I reckon they would be able to willing to pay that, because if he stays injury-free for 2 consecutive seasons, I think he's proven that his injury worries are kind of behind him now, and that he's now 29 years of age. Yes, he's reaching 30, but if he has another stellar season injury-free like he did last season, then I think he proves that he has a bit longevity about him, and he can. I reckon, I've said this all along, he could play into his mid-30s easy.
But if you've got the chance next summer, let's say Haaland keeps smashing out like he is, to get Haaland for his release clause of 60, 75 million, whatever it is, or Kane for in excess of 100 million, surely you're going by Haaland.
Yeah, of course you are.
So I mean, it could bite Harry in the arse in terms of his City move, because City could easily go for Haaland next summer.
It could bite him in the arse. Of course it could. Depends.
Right, all I'm saying, this is music to all our ears, because I genuinely think...
Look, it's only rumours.
Yeah, of course it's only rumours, but Ali Gold's talking about it, Paul Miller's talking about it, so reliable sources are talking about it.
The most interesting thing is they're saying it's coming from Kane's camp.
Yeah.
It's not coming from Tottenham. That's the most interesting thing about it, which, everyone's criticised Kane's camp for the whole summer for how he's advised Kane or whatever, or perceived to have advised Kane. If it is coming from Kane's camp and if they are advising him sign a contract, I mean, I wonder how that'll change the narrative. It's very interesting.
We'll see. Look, we'll see how it all plays out. But if this is the case and Harry Kane does sign a contract for a release clause that activates next summer, I think that is an absolute win-win, man. I think it's absolutely sensational if that happens.
I tell you what, if that actually happens, I think Levy's got to say he's played a blinder if that happens.
Yeah.
To be fair,
you got to say that.
You got to say that. But look. It's very early days. It's only a rumour, so we can't get too excited about any new deal just yet. So we'll see how it plays out. Again, as I say,
those are the talks.
We've said, haven't we? There's going to be many twists and turns in this saga. So
we didn't think this twist was coming.
To be fair, we didn't think this one, but I think it's still going to rumble on for a bit of a while. Yeah.
All right, look, let's move on. Let's talk about Lautaro Martinez. As Ali Gold has said, Lautaro Martinez has shown a keenness to join Spurs, although no personal terms have been agreed at this stage. With Harry Kane's new contract, do you think this still happens?
Probably not, but it's still fun to think about, isn't it? I honestly believe this deal was lined up with the potential of Kane leaving. I really don't. I know there's rumours of us playing 2 up top and him together, but I think it's just so unlikely. It's just so unlikely to splash out like that. So I still think he's our kind of backup option if Kane leaves, but it's nice to think about, and it's nice to think that he would still be keen on a move, even though we're not in Champions League.
But look, having said all that, the guy has got 2 years left in his contract. He's on 40 grand a week. If Kane does go next year for this release clause, we could probably buy him at half the price they're banding him around now.
If he doesn't sign a contract.
Yeah,
definitely. Oh, definitely. Easy. Cut the price in half for sure.
Yeah.
That'd be brilliant.
It could easily work out. It really could. I mean, if he doesn't sign that contract, Inter might want to get rid this summer. They might want to.
It's true, because they might think there's a good opportunity to get top dollar. So maybe circumstances could still fall into our favour, but we'll still have to wait and see, because with Lukaku going, maybe they'll convince him to sign a contract. We have to wait and see. Yeah,
I mean, it was very clear, the message from his agent a few days ago, saying he's an Inter Milan player, he's very happy in Inter Milan, and he wants to stay.
He could have said, the agent, if he really wanted the move, could have easily said, we'll see what happens in the summer, nothing's decided yet.
It was very clear, wasn't he?
Very clear. So clearly, they don't see him moving just yet, but we'll have to, maybe Inter might force it. We'll have to wait and see.
All right. Next up, we've got a brand new name, Dennis Zakaria. Bild is saying Tottenham may decide to move for Borussia's Mönchengladbach midfielder Dennis Zakaria, depending on their ability to sell other players in this position. So, I mean, I'm guessing it's, if we can get Sissoko or Winks out, or even both, we might look to bring him in. Would you
Yeah, I
take that?
think I would replace. I think it'd be a decent replacement for Sissoko. Not perfect, but decent. I think he's a good player as a courier, and I think he's got a lot of scope to improve. Didn't have the best of Euros, but
He
I
was
think
on your one to watch.
he was on my one to watch. He kind of disappointed me a bit, but I think he's a very good. He would be a very good replacement for Sissoko. He'd definitely be an upgrade, that's for sure. And he'll definitely add legs into the midfield that we desperately need. So I would be in favour of this if we were to sign him if it was a good price. But if we're looking at spending 40 million on him, I'm not so sure that would be the best.
What's like the
use of
kind of
40 million.
max you think you'd go up to for?
I think if it's between 25 and 30, something like a bit less than that, something like that, then I think it's a good deal. But I think if we're spending 40 million, I just think you could spend 40 million better than on Zakaria.
I mean, how old is he?
25, I believe, 24.
Oh,
25?
is he that old already? I thought he was young. Yeah, he's 24.
24.
He's 24. So yeah, I'd agree with you there. But let's move on. Let's talk about another new name to the Tottenham update is Martin Braithwaite.
Oh dear.
Just oh dear. And this one is from Sport. I don't know how reliable they are, but hopefully they're not too reliable. As they say, Tottenham have sounded out Barcelona striker Martin Braithwaite. I mean, when you say Barcelona striker, it makes it so glamorous, doesn't it?
Makes it sound a lot more impressive, yeah.
Sounded out Barcelona striker Martin Braithwaite over a move. The forward has had preliminary agreement with West Ham, but is willing to wait and see how the Harry Kane saga plans out, as he prefers the Spurs option. I mean, this Martin Braithwaite is more of the kind of, he should be in the list that we had like in that January when we were going through all those strikers. He would fall into that camp, wouldn't he?
He was average when Barca got him. I don't know why Barca even got him.
Barca got him because all their strikers were injured and they got that special dispensation.
Honestly, youth player than play, or rather play Braithwaite. I just think he's paying. He had look. To be fair to Braithwaite, he actually had a decent Euros for Denmark, but I think he was on riding that wave of the Danish team where everyone seemed to be stepping up. So it's hard to take that into account. He got 2 goals last season. 2.
How many did he play?
29 games.
29 games. Yeah. 21 starts.
He played 29 times. Got 2 goals.
But do we know how many of those were starts? Because he couldn't have started 29 games last season.
Probably not 29, but I think he had more starts than you think.
Really?
Yeah. So look, I think he's painfully average. I think he's got pace, but he's 30. So how long is he going to have that pace for? Probably not too long. Yeah. His finishing is like. Oh, so poor. So poor.
It's like having Musa Soko up front.
Honestly, it's not even that far off. And then his finishing's really bad. And then his first touch is terrible as well. Like really frustrating. He would be. I don't know how Barca gave him. They gave up Suarez and gave the number 9 to Braithwaite. And no wonder they're in the trouble they are in now. Honestly. But yeah, honestly, Braithwaite. Hard no. I'd rather start Scarlett. Honestly. I'd rather start Scarlett.
Strong words there from Sim. Strong words. Let's talk about Musa Sissoko now, as Carlo Pelaghetti. I'm not sure how reliable he is, so might maybe take this one with a pinch of salt. He says that AC Milan have open talks with Musa Sissoko.
We can pray.
We can pray.
Come on, AC.
we had Aurier opening talks with AC Milan all summer, didn't we? Mm-hmm. And now we're having it with Sissoko. I mean, I'd love him to go to AC Milan. I'd love him to go anywhere, but I can't see this one being a starter.
Come on,
to be honest.
take him, AC Milan. Please take him off our books. We'll include him in our deal for Kessie. How about that?
It's funny how with Sissoko, in the first year and a half of his Spurs tenure, everyone was like this reaction to him. Then everyone was like, "Oh, he's the GOAT, he's the best," and now it's all gone full circle.
Yeah,
again.
Full circle again. Look, I think his time has been and gone for Musa. I think he did a good job for a year when for a time when Wanyama was out and he stepped
in that Champions League run as well.
Yeah, and he bagged himself a new contract. And ever since then, he's been pretty awful. So
I think beginning of last season under Jose, he was good. And then halfway through the season, he fell off.
It's true. So, but we always know that he's had shortcomings. When even at his best, he's had shortcomings.
Yeah,
he's just kind of compensated in other areas.
Very limited player.
Extremely. So I just think it's time to improve on him. I've had enough of his passes going out of play and like running into the corner, running off the pitch and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but the Tottenham Stadium erupts when he scores.
Yeah, it does. It's like nothing I've ever seen when he scores. It's like a Champions League final goal or something.
Not that we would know.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, look, if anyone can take him off our hands, AC Milan will pay you to have him, honestly, probably.
Don't speak too soon, man. They're going to start taking you up on that.
Honestly, I was saying on Twitter, I'm going to start a GoFundMe soon to buy out Sissoko's contract. I'm sure a lot of people will be on that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that would cost a lot of money. He's on like 100 grand a week or something.
100 grand a week. Well, I can get enough of how many Spurs fans there worldwide. If everyone puts in £1, I think we can do it.
Well, if we did all our subscribers just to put in £1, that's still not enough for 1 week's
That's
wages.
not even 1 week. All right, a tenner each, maybe.
All right, let's move on. Brian Hill, Charlie Eccleshare. We actually brought you yesterday that he was due to be at Hotspur Way today, but that's not the case. He is due tomorrow. And let me just read the update. He says, Brian Hill actually expected at Hotspur Way tomorrow now, as Spurs players aren't training today. He'll do his COVID test, etc., and then he'll be able to join up with the group. Brian Hill is fit after the Olympics and had a holiday prior to the tournament, so hopefully we'll be able to hit the ground running.
Yeah, apparently, he's also could be available for Sunday as well. They're saying.
Oh, really? Interesting.
That's what Eccleshare said in his article. So, be interesting if he is available, what we do with him, put him on the bench, or whether he's going to be involved at all.
9 subs, I imagine he should be on the bench.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see how Nuno sees him. Does he see him a player who's going to make an impact now and put him on the bench to actually use him, or is he going to see a player to bed in and maybe in like January time or like November, December time we really start using him? Depends how Nuno sees him, because he's still young, 20 years of age, so you don't want to put too much pressure on him. But I guess it'll be interesting to see if he is available on Sunday, how we use him. But yeah, it's great that he's coming back straight away, straight for the Olympics. He wants to get involved in the squad, and I'm happy that he has that mentality that he doesn't want to break. He wants to get to work straight away.
Yeah, I mean, he does seem to have a good mentality about him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Moving on to the final story for today is Juan Foyth talking about Harry Kane. And the quote is, "If I leave Lionel Messi aside, Harry Kane is the best striker in the world. He is an animal. There are others who marked an era, but no one as complete. It is hard to find players as complete, understanding the game beyond scoring." And that's absolutely right, isn't it? I mean, Harry Kane, whatever you say about him, maybe to the naked eye, to someone that doesn't watch football week in, week out, can just say, oh yeah, Harry Kane's just a goal scorer. But he's just so much more than that, isn't he?
Yeah, we've seen that. It's not even, everyone points out his passing and everything like that, which is absolutely true, but it's not just that. Like things like his first touch, his awareness of space,
the way he uses his body,
exactly, the way he uses his body, all that kind of stuff is just top notch. It doesn't get spoken about enough. Obviously, the flashy things like his goals, his assists, his through ball, all that kind of stuff. That's everyone can see how amazing that is. But I think it does go. Foyth is completely right. His understanding of the game, the way he every time he touches the ball, he uses creative ways to get into create space and things like that, goes completely under the radar. And I think Kane is at the moment is a striker anyway, second to none in Europe in all those aspects.
Completely agree. So look, that is your Tottenham update for today. We'll see you tomorrow morning for Good Morning Tottenham, 11 o'clock. Thank you everyone for watching. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.